Sometime back, I was having to get myself being kind of like in myself of my speculation of the mind because I wasn't ready to get myself at what I was supposed to do for my life because I never had a plan to do myself by my to be by the end of me to do something for myself to me because I never thought I could be doing something that at all, not at all mandatory for me because I don't know what I should be doing in order to get myself at some kind of like mendicant, pauperish, beggarish activity because I'm not at all trying to get myself stingy enough, not at all frugal, not at all hand shaped for myself because I want to like explicitly giving myself enlarge for my like speculation of the kind of spectrum to get myself more than I should be having to be getting myself to be calling my for own self to me. At the same time, I don't know what I should be like giving any kind of like incubation, any kind of attention, any form of information to anybody else because in the mind all this kind of plan that has to be spoken by me in terms of rap, I'm not at all willing to say anything that I should be saying about this particular situation in my mind. I have to be reckoning myself like not at all opinionated about anything because my opinion about myself is not at all at the end of my kind of activity, end of my with concern for myself, for me to make sure that I could be getting myself again to get myself being kind of driven across some kind of like cogitation, notion or self speculation about my spectrum of my self kind of adulation about myself because my add-on for myself is never ending for the like vicinity of my like sake of the life. I could be telling myself to do stuff that I should be not at all being able to do with anybody else but only by my own self, for my own like self-sacrifice or not, but definitely self-enlargement mode of myself for myself to make it my own self to me, to grow it for like betterment of everything that I has to be in my own kind of a like spectrum speculation for of to me by the me of at the end of me and never but definitely at the beginning to the ending, like never ending at the continuity of me for myself by the me to me. But I don't know what I could be saying in order to say that I could be like giving everybody any kind of like access, maybe success, any kind of decomposition peril, or maybe like perish, or getting everybody else to be letting himself being kind of like networthy driven across some kind of like notion that is not at all a part of their speculation, not at all a part of like confirmation or kind of like conformity for myself, and to make sure that I could be not at all wanting to make anything that has to be getting myself be kind of wanting my ways that I will never be able to do myself, to get myself being kind of like getting myself being kind of driven across this kind of like ways to say that I could be doing ways for meaningful activities, not at all being kind of like getting myself at any kind of like sheer success because I don't know what I could be doing in order to getting myself being kind of like doing everything that is not at all even in my capability or not at all even my calibaristics or maybe not over my kind of like ability to do some kind of like basics because I'm not at all basically driven myself into some kind of like basicality of my stuff because I don't know basically I could be talking about say not at all any bull stuff shit at the same thing because same time I have to be getting myself like completely open to my mind, honest to myself what I want to do, have to be getting myself like fixing my priorities more than kind of a straight like not at all serpentine, aquiline or maybe kind of tortuous. I got to be having to be it perfectly aligned to myself away from the like my own like ways to getting myself do whatever I think so as to getting the wife from everybody else. I could be snitching your ways or maybe making sure that I could be like making you into some kind of a like not at all and some kind of a like tempest or maybe not at all more than that so but definitely I could be like drowning on you, maybe making sure that could be having to be like making yourself be careful getting you dwindle across this kind of like phase with not at all letting you to survive my kind of like ways to not at all getting myself want to do whatever I could be not at all down across so as to do what I could be doing about to do what is needed to be done to do for myself to do the thing at the right way to do about because I'm not at all doing anything for myself sake because I'm already done, have done, did, or doing everything I maybe done, did in the past, present, and the future, or maybe not at all, even in the like possible moment, because I'm not at all doing anything to do about for myself, because everything has been done, predisposed by myself to me, and I'm going through it every time because everything is contained in me. There is a part of me that is my own kind of a like my shoes, my cleats, whatever I could be calling about it, but definitely I'm not at all a part of anybody, not at all a global this kind of a like what you call globular or maybe like non-globular conformation, non-globular or maybe globular, this global own kind of a setup on its own kind of a thing, because I'm not at all trying to get myself, I could be getting myself driven more across by the universal law of like fulfilling my own capabilities by myself, I will be getting myself where I'm not at all supposed to be. Definitely I ought to be making my own path to reach where I'm supposed to be. What I want to be is not at all what I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be something like what I not at all want to be, but definitely what I want to be is I'm not at all supposed to not be there, but definitely I will making myself, and supposedly or not, but definitely practically and like fulfillment of myself to be there, because I want to be myself and not at all anybody. And that's why my own self want for myself is not at all wanting me to like want some anybody. It's just kind of a like mindset for myself, because I'm not at all trying to get myself being kind of duped or duped by anybody else, because I'm cooping on everybody else, not at all taking the clout on me, because I'm not at all there's kind of a rain being kind of a like dribbling or drizzling or maybe kind of a like drenching myself from my own water to me, because I'm not at all getting myself being kind of a like inundated or maybe kind of flooded by myself, because I'm not at all bedraggled to myself, so as to making sure that I could be crying from my eyes and let everybody else enjoy my tears, because revenge is sweeter than kind of a like sugar. This is not at all my kind of a vindictive nature, because I'm not at all vindicating on anybody else at the same time, and not at all trying to get myself. I could be spending a lot for myself ways to let everybody else to go and to about that they could bring some stuff. It's not at all my kind of a like ways to manage or maybe mandatorily poking my nose into this kind of a like look after for, because I'm not at all trying to give me into any kind of like association or any kind of like way to say like socialization, because I'm not at all solicited by anybody else, because my socio-economical base is not at all the way I'm supposed to be for the timing now, but I'm not at all lagging back or maybe careful, not at all letting myself being kind of procrastinating for my social issues or maybe awareness or maybe my kind of reputation that has been already built across by me, or maybe I had already built upon that, because I'm not at all trying to getting myself that I could be like walking the like negative path of the like number line to getting myself at the positive end, when I could be like spiritualizing myself into any kind of a ways that I have like crossed this kind of a like globular or maybe this kind of a roundish world, to make sure I can be walking the distance from one end and reaching at the same end from where I have started in my long time back, because I'm trying to get in no kind of a like deal for everybody else, for myself too, but definitely every deal that has to be cracked by me is some kind of a like specification deal that nobody ever had been able to do. So my ways to do myself is not at all a ways to be doing myself for you, because I can be not at all letting anybody else to do you, but definitely I could be letting not at all anybody else to do themselves too, but definitely I could be letting everybody else to do themselves, and I could be letting everybody else to do to yourself, because I could be not at all doing the me, I could be making sure that I could be doing the thee, because this is not at all my tempest for myself, because I'm not at all running late for myself, rather I'm like before ahead of time, because I'm letting everybody else to speculate some kind of a like ways to measure up what is being wrong in my lifestyle, because I'm not at all able to make it sure that I could be making any adjustment with my life to getting myself like at the right track. What people could be calling about feng shui, maybe whatever kind of a like archaeological or maybe archaeopatrics whatever thing, or maybe kind of a like paranormology, or maybe some kind of a like what do you call horoscopic or whatever bullshit thing, because I'm not talk with any kind of a ways to make sure that I will be like doing some kind of a like gathering about myself stuff, and at the same kind of a day I'm not at all trying to getting myself that I can be like living getting or maybe like living non-gain or maybe making any kind of a gain or non-gain, or maybe like place it, or maybe kind of like activist, or maybe kind of like activist, or maybe kind of like deficit surplus in any kind of ways, because this is not at all any kind of like what you call calculation, or maybe any kind of like calculus at the end of the mean ways, because I'm not at all living a life of complete mathematics on my own self for, because I'm living a life of complete destruction for myself, and this is not at all meant by myself for me, because I'm not at all doing anything that has to be meant to me, because I'm not at all giving everybody else any kind of like ways to survive on themselves, or not sometimes, or maybe more than that monumental by myself, like because I'm meditating on myself, or maybe kind of like waiting to get myself to do what is not at all big enough or right for me, or right for everybody else to do, because I'm not at all rightfully right anybody else's kind of a mindset for, but definitely I'm more right than anybody else, those who are living in the world, or maybe anywhere in this entire kind of a galaxy, even way beyond, or maybe like in the same like conformity for themselves to sustain their life to get themselves doing whatever they could be doing to making a living from just even not at all by doing any like good, maybe any kind of like non-good, not but definitely more than some kind of a shit to them, because I'm not at all trying to getting myself being into any kind of like same platform to like myself being kind of like being called upon, being anybody else's kind of like confirmation for myself, because I'm not at all comforting on myself, taking the like calculation of crowd on my back as kind of like my support, but definitely I'm taking the kind of a load of this gun on my back and getting that kind of a bullet straight up in myself, or maybe making sure that I could be getting everybody else to do whatever they never thought they could be like doing to me, because I could be letting everybody else to do the bad to me, because I'm not at all taking the bad. I could be like getting myself being kind of some kind of like what you call this kind of a reflection, or maybe it's kind of like reflective ways to get myself that whatever coming my way, I could be like observing the best for myself and letting go of all this kind of like bullshit in some kind of like what to say rebound manner. That could be like one who trying to hurt me down, I could be like hurting them down even before the way they could have been feeling that they are supposed to get in themselves being kind of hurtfully, being not at all righteous in my ways, but definitely this is how I've like made myself to like getting myself like where I'm supposed to not be, and definitely I'm not at all getting myself like sustainability for myself is not at all a part of my own success, because I'm already like sustainably successful in whatever I do. So I don't at all going to making sure that I can be getting myself being kind of like at any kind of a cover to myself one, because I'm not at all willing to get everybody else to do is like something that is not at all part of my agenda, or maybe not at all my political, or maybe any kind of like non-political or whatever kind of what you say, this kind of issues, this kind of propaganda, because I'm not at all in any kind of a mind, because my issues or my disputes are not at all kind of like issuing any kind of a discharge for myself, because I'm not at all like diabolic in my activity, not at all like kind of a satanic in my ways, because I'm not at all trying to get myself like I could be getting myself like crooked or kind of like crook as to do what is needed to be done, because at the end of the day I'm honestly moving towards the direction that I'm supposed to get myself at the this kind of like particular fix of time, because I'm not at all fixing myself with anybody else, because my match is not being fixed by anybody else, because I'm not at all kind of like rematching myself with anybody else that has been kind of like matchmaking to me, because I'm not at all a matchstick. I'm not, but definitely I'm the matchstick that is kind of burning myself down every time I'm letting a kind of like stick being friction against the box that is being kind of mean to me. So I'm not at all going to getting myself being kind of like overly like converted into some kind of a thing that I'm not at all supposed to be, because I'm not at all being to supposedly to be somebody else that is not at all me, because I'm myself. I'm killing on everybody else. Everybody else that's not like trying to getting themselves being in my kind of like custody, I can be getting themselves being kind of like kill prune or cut throat, or getting myself being kind of completely butchered, because I'm not at all letting everybody else to do whatever they thought is not at all a part of my kind of a way to do something, because I'm not at all like watching on everybody else, because my job is being watched by everybody else and not, but definitely I keep like holding myself responsible for what has been kind of done, because my ways to say that my thing is not at all being kind of doable by my side, because every time I could be getting everybody else to do some bullshit, I could be killing them just not by giving them kind of a tight fist on their face, because I could be getting them being kind of killed just by cutting their throat in that time, because I could be not at all driving into any kind of like frenzy to get myself like this kind of rat race to make myself at top of the pace to do this kind of like bullshit, and everybody else themselves they got like being kind of like curved by somebody else who maybe as well like willing to stand by me, because I'm not at all standing myself by anybody, because I didn't miss this kind of like standing by me or standing by anybody else, will be meaning make sure that I can be not at all standing for myself whenever it's like right to make sure I can be taking the stand to stand up for the standing value of like standing effigy for myself, to stand across this kind of way, to stand up for and to say that I'm not at all making any kind of a clap on me standing at the end of the day, to stand and say that I'm not at all standing for myself. I could be letting everybody to stand on me, never be the case where definitely I could be standing on everybody else and not, maybe I could be standing on everybody else even on their head and giving them a kick throughout all over their body, or maybe even they're kind of cracking their 206 bones and getting them being kind of like being kind of cut and being kind of put it in like pseudos. What? Yeah, definitely not at all my kind of like scapegoat, because I'm not at all willing to making sure that there has been already been put in this kind of bitches, and I'm like trying to get myself being kind of driven across my kind of like notion to getting everybody else to do. They could be saying or watching myself to getting myself being kind of like remorse, to getting myself being kind of like getting my dime across this kind of everybody else, because I could be like getting myself being mannequin corporation, maybe trying to getting myself and trying to get my into any kind of like chaos for myself, because I'm kayaking towards the direction that is not at all being a like end point of my life, because I'm kayaking towards the direction what is being the like positive or what is being not at all the positive, I don't know what, but definitely not at all even the beginning of my lifestyle. So I'm kayaking towards an end that is not at all endable for my like waiting memory, whatever I could be having to be making myself or making myself wait, because I'm not all like getting myself being kind of like kayakable towards the distance or towards some other kind of direction that has already been never made, because I could be blocking my ways to make sure I could be fight to make sure that you will be constructing my path with myself or not, but definitely maybe me or definitely everybody else, those who are like trying to bring me down, I will be fighting them with myself, so as to making sure I'm not at all fighting myself, I will be fighting everybody else, or making sure that I could be getting them being not at all being in the first state, or I could be doing slide or not, but definitely maybe not, I don't know what, but definitely those who are trying to getting me to getting myself being kind of done. I'm not at all taking anybody else's kind of like suggestion, because I could be doing whatever I wish to do, whatever I feel like I could be doing is my own kind of a decision, not at all anybody else's kind of imposing or indiction being kind of walked upon me, because I could be letting everybody else to being kind of they being anything by their own kind of like undermined, because they could be not at all being able to do some kind of like aiming at me, because I'm aiming at everybody else, never that I could be like making everybody else to aim at themselves, and they could be like aiming to kill themselves first. This is my wrath on everybody, because I'm not at all getting everybody else to do that. They could be talking some shit and this kind of like bullshit stuff, because I'm not all giving me any ways to do, because I know that they will be never be able to do whatever I do or myself, or making sure that I could be not at all trying to make sure that could be at the end of the day to say that I could be doing some stuff is not at all being kind of doable for everybody else, just being doable for me, because I'm doing the best for myself. And at the moment, ever since I had been doing the same thing, because there is no punishment life, even my life is punishment is the best do for myself, because I'm not at all trying to make myself being kind of like dandling enough in any kind of direction that is being kind of not at all getting myself being personality being kind of like either my swag super fleek or maybe super like fashionable for my style to make it happening every time whenever I'm around, even when I'm not around in any kind of like vicinity.